Hi friends, Mindy here. I have a little project for you today. I am going to be creating a little journal out of this little box and this scrapbooking paper pad. This is from Stamperia. It's called Around the World. It has some really beautiful vintage postcards and just different things in here to use, just like a traveler type theme. I love some of these images in here. I've had this in my stash for a while, so I'm using this as part of my 100-day project. So I'm going to be using some papers that are in my stash for the signature, and I think maybe I'll be able to get 2 signatures in there. And then I'm going to try to use the most of this that I can, because it's a 12 by 12. The scale of it is you know, kind of big for this size of a journal, but I do think that some of these pages in here I'll be able to use. For example, the postcards, I think I can cut those out and use them even as like adding in a pocket. These I can definitely make a pocket for, make like a journaling card out of those. There's actually a little envelope right here that could be cut out. I love this. So beautiful. And then again, these journaling cards, I think that they're double-sided, but I think that I can make them work. And then this paper pad comes with 10 double-sided papers, but they also use on their covers. This is, you know, their branding obviously is on the front, but on the inside they've actually printed on there. So these are the cover, cover on the back side here is what I'm actually going to do for the cover of my journal. And then I think I'll do this lined one on the inside. That way I'm just using up the, you know, as much of this paper pad as I can, and then using things from my stash to pull in this idea to continue on with my 100-day project of using up my stash. So I'm going to put you on fast forward. I'm going to cut this down and then start making a little junk journal. So I'm gonna put you on fast forward and get started. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is trim off all of the little flaps. So I'm just using an X-Acto knife and a ruler. This is my Tim Holtz ruler that has the steel edge in it. And I'm just going to go around and trim all of that down. I found that this is the easiest way for me to do that. And then I have this paper that I selected. Like I said, this was one of the packaging, like the outer packaging from the paper pad. And so I just need to trim it down a little bit. And I want to keep this bottom section because it looks like the ocean. And so I want to keep this part, so I'm just making sure to trim it how I want it. And now I'm gonna just flip it over, make sure that my cover fits okay on here, and I should have enough around the edges to wrap this this box. So I covered everything in this score tape. Well, this is the scrapbook.com version of score tape with double-sided adhesive that's really sticky and strong. I covered the entire section of it, and I'm going to pull the release paper back just from this middle section. Originally, I thought I was going to do the whole thing all at once, and then I decided to just do it in sections just because it's really sticky, and I want to make sure that I, you know, only have one shot at it. So I'm setting it here in kind of in the middle, trying to just line it up as best as I can. I'm not so worried if it's like lined up evenly left to right, but I want to make sure that it's straight, because otherwise that, you know, the image like with the ocean being crooked would just look funny. So anyway, I got that on there, and then now I'm just going to go ahead and really remove all of the release paper from this back side, and then I'll burnish that down, and then I'll go and do the other side. So I'm just, again, using my bone folder here and just burnishing that down, make sure it's really good and tight. And then I'm taking that bone folder and I'm running it along the edge of the paper, right at the edge of the box. And I'm doing that because I want to kind of break the fibers of the paper a little bit. It's just going to help it fold better. This is really thick paper, and so I don't want it to crack on me when I'm folding it or anything like that. So you can see I'm even kind of working the spine with my bone folder, and then I'll go over it and kind of burnish it down. I just really want to make sure that that paper doesn't crack. So and then I'm going to trim out the corners here just so that I have a good mitered corner and just less bulk when I am wrapping these pieces around toward the middle. So now I'm even going to go again here through here and just kind of fold this up just ever so slightly. I'm not, you know, making a hard fold there or anything, but just breaking up some of that, those fibers just to make it work better. And then I did need to trim a little bit extra so that I was a little bit closer to those corners. So I went ahead and did that. And now I'm going to go around on the inside of the the paper with score tape. And what I did is I went around the edge of the box, and then now I'm going around the edge of all of the paper, and this is just going to ensure that it sticks down really well, without having to cover everything or having glue sticking out where I don't want it. So of course you could do liquid glue if you wanted to. I just find this works really well. So I removed the release paper, and now I'm kind of folding this over. When you're wrapping chipboard or something like that, if you kind of stand it up on its edge and then sort of roll it toward you, you'll get a really nice crease around the edge and it'll get, nice and flush up to the edge of the chipboard. So I'm just going to show you again here. I'm just kind of, rolling it over, making sure that I can basically get the edge of the chipboard, as well as, getting it all the way wrapped around. It just makes for a really nice, clean look on there. So this is how it looks on the inside. You can see I had plenty of room on there, which is fine because I was using a 12 by 12 sheet of paper, so it worked perfect for this little tiny journal. This journal ends up being around 4 by 5.5. So little give or take a little bit, but I was going to use a different one of the pages from the paper pad, and then I realized that this leftover bit that I had trimmed off would actually work perfectly. It doesn't cover as much surface area on the inside as maybe I would normally do, but I didn't want to waste the paper, so I thought I'm just going to go ahead and put this on the inside. But I do want to kind of keep that little splotchy part kind of more centered. So I'm going to just trim it down just a little bit from the left side so that I can get that little splotch kind of where I want it on the inside cover. And then that way it's not being covered by the signature. And then I'm just going to kind of mark, and I'm just eyeballing this where I want that. And then I'm going to trim that. And then I will cover the entire back of this paper with that same sticky double-sided adhesive. And then what I'm going to do is when I'm pulling back the release paper, I pulled back the center section, and then I'm going to just, on these edges, I'm only going to pull them back just a little bit and kind of create little wings basically. And that just is going to make sure that I can line this up good before I actually have to press it down and I don't accidentally like drop it or whatever, and then it just be stuck on there forever. So just a trick you can kind of use those to help you align everything before you stick it down, and then you can just pull the release paper right out from under it. So and again, now that I have added this other piece here, I need to go back through and kind of work that spine again. So I'm taking my bone folder, just really gently working the folds of the spine. I don't want the paper that's on the inside to crack or tear either. So I'm just using my bone folder and kind of folding back and forth, back and forth. And then I have these papers kind of sitting on my desk just from another project. And this is part of my 100-day project of using things up. So I am just going to pull random papers that are kind of sitting on my desk, left over from other projects, and then a few from my stash as well. I won't make you watch me do this, but these were just a couple that happened to be sitting on my desk from another project. So I'm just trimming them down really roughly with my ruler there. I'm not using scissors. I'm not measuring. I'm just kind of eyeballing the whole thing. But I had this Braille paper that I love that I want to use. This was some other paper from a House of Books subscription. This is a hymnal page. This was also a bit, I believe, in one of my House of Books subscription kits. And so I'm just trimming this one down. I wanted to make sure to keep the copyright on that one because it's pretty old. And then I had some other dot grid paper that's like craft paper that's from Archer and Olive. I had some like leftover mixed media paper, some coffee dyed paper, dictionary, all kinds of things. So I will do a flip through, but at the end here, but you can kind of see this is how my signatures came together. I did add another page of the actual scrapbook paper from this scrapbook pad on there. And then now what I'm doing is I was trying to keep this really simple. So ordinarily when I'm doing multiple signatures like this, I would make a template and create a grid and make sure all the holes and stuff were lined up. But I was kind of doing this the lazy way. So I marked on the inside of the spine kind of where I would want the holes for each of the signatures so that they would look neat from the outside, basically. And now I'm just going to kind of mark on the, you can see I'm here marking where those lines intersect. And then I'm marking on the outside of the signature, where I need to put the holes so that I make sure that my holes line up, because I can't obviously, get this into my book cradle. So, in hindsight, it would have been easier if I would have just gone ahead and done the template, to make sure everything was lined up. But I don't know. I was just thinking this would be faster, but, the trouble is trying to get everything lined up. So, I'm also going through here just making sure that, because I have a couple pages that are, different sizes. And so I want to make sure that those little short pages are being hit by at least 2 of the holes, so they will stay nice and secure. So I'm just going through and making sure everything is lined up where I want it. And then I'm adding some clips just to keep everything secure while I am assembling this. And then the problem is that I have the lines on the outside, and usually I would punch the holes from, the inside of the signature. So it's very difficult to, when you're punching from the outside, to make sure that you are lining it all the way up in basically the gutter of each one of those pages. And so you can see I'm kind of fighting with it here. I decided I'm just going to try to eyeball it from the outside. I had the line on the outside, but I was trying to make the hole from the inside to the outside. Sorry if that doesn't make sense. It was just, I was making it way more complicated than it needed to be, basically. And then I thought I would just try to use the edge of my little foam thing here, and that worked okay, but it was precarious. And so I in hindsight, just make the template. It just makes it easier. But so anyway, I'm just going to sew these in with a 3-hole pamphlet stitch. So I'm using some waxed linen thread. I'm cutting, I actually cut mine a little bit long. Typically 2.5 to 3 times the length of your spine is enough. I did mine actually longer than that, so I'll have some dangly bits because I want to add some things to the threads later on. So as with any pamphlet, the 3-hole pamphlet stitch, you start in the middle and you go to the outside, and then you come back into the inside, go all the way down to the bottom and back out to the outside, and then swing back around into the middle hole. And I know I'm not doing a super detailed tutorial on that. That really wasn't the point of this video, but I just left this part in here so you can kind of see. I was fumbling with this a little bit because some of the papers that I had in there were kind of curly, and everything was just wanting to curl up on me. And so like I said, I had made this just way harder on myself than was actually necessary, but I was just trying to get it done. But it really would have been faster if I had created the template. But anyway, you can see me kind of fumbling around, and you can see how long my strings are, but you could trim those down. I'm leaving them long for now because, like I said, I have plans to add stuff down to the bottom. So this is the end of that second signature being sewn in. I didn't make you watch me fumble through that one too, but let me know if you haven't seen a 3-hole pamphlet stitch. There's a bazillion videos on YouTube that show you how to do that in more detail than what I just did. But I'm just doing a quick flip through here of these signatures. So this is the first signature, and then obviously the last half of that is the same. The second signature is very similar, but it does have a few different pages in it. I have some paper, like piano roll in there, music paper, some stuff from Railroad, just all kinds of things in there. So I'm looking forward to working in this journal. I will do probably a part 2 where I'm actually decorating it. So let me know if you'd like to see that. If you like this video, I'd appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And until next time, bye.